to second camera.
See me after that. Charles, read this thing. Don't read that.
Set. Who do night yesterday for news? The person don't just even do so much because the news I read on Sunday. Most of them now I read on Monday. Huh? Most of you. Can sleep, they can sleep. Same news I read, they don't touch up because some things they break overnight.
And now, if you say my Sunday, you say my Sunday.
Which was last Sunday.
You know, people go collect call, people can sleep, you know.
You're a bad guy. Welcome to Signature TV News. I am Charles Pius. In the headlines, Naira for crude deal begins Tuesday as Nigerians await reduced fuel prices. Governor Mbah calls for unity and inclusive national development as Nigeria marks 64th Independence Day celebrations. Jens Stoltenberg to step down after 10 years as NATO chief. And fiery explosion rocks Yemen port city following Israeli strikes. Details in a moment. Enugu State government has called for more collaboration from civil society organizations and other relevant stakeholders in ensuring the actualization of the 2030 Agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) by finding common grounds to advance the collective interest of the state. The secretary to the government, Professor Chidiebere Onya, made the call on Saturday during the Enugu State's 2024 Global Goals Week celebration. Signature TV correspondent Precious Chiagoro has the report. Something you were expecting from the news is the Anambra State's local government elections that happened over the weekend, and a lot of people are excited about the elections as a build up to that election. But I thought it was going to go the other way. There's the different ways that elections are held, especially as it concerns Kano State or Kaduna State, where we had four local government areas, one while the ruling party held sway. But it looked like it was the same thing. This voter apathy, people didn't show up for the elections. People's shops were opened. People were even seen going about their daily duties and routine, not caring what was going on. So I wonder really whether we're serious with our local government administration, right from government or maybe even till the to the people. Really, I really don't think that we're doing so well with our local government elections, and I hope something is done very quickly regarding our constitutional amendments that is ongoing. There should be some sort of amendment that would make it very, very difficult for anyone who is not involved to stay clear. Some of the reasons why these local government elections have been held across the board is because of the fact that Supreme Court had given some directive asking that local government should have its financial autonomy. But it's crazy that that really hasn't worked with what we have seen. Governors appoint people, nominate people. At the end of the day, they win the elections, go up announcing the results. I just feel it's going to be another exercise in futility because the idea of getting local governments its financial autonomy is the fact that it could be able to carry out its own administration quite well. Beyond that, it's going to do some other things that are exclusive and quite, fabulous for the people of that particular local government. But it does look like the governors are still holding sway, and really nothing is going to happen. Nothing spectacular is going to change in that administration, and it's all because of how we have weakened our institutions. It's that bad. Another issue I'm looking at is the UNGA, the United Nations um, the 79 sessions of the ONGA, the United Nations General Assembly. I thought that it was going to be something that would be more of an action plan rather than just speech giving. For me, this should be more than just speech giving. The UNGA should be more than just speech giving. After the speeches, the action plans for each resolutions made and time plan as to what to do with every other issue, whether it's Ukraine, Russia, or Israel, Lebanese, or Hezbollah, or Gaza, or Hamas, as the case may be. I really don't know why. So I got to go back to the news. Governor Peter Mba of Enugu State has called on Nigerians to embrace unity and pursue inclusive national economic development for the common good of the nation. Mba made the call on Sunday during a special church service at the Government House Chapel, Enugu, to mark Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary. The governor, who described the country's 64th anniversary as a milestone, said it was a testament to the resilient spirit of the people of Nigeria. While underscoring the significant role of government in sustaining democracy, he stressed that the country could only thrive in an atmosphere where everyone is giving a sense of inclusion, with deliberate efforts to banish feelings of alienation. He further urged Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu's administration as well as other leaders across the states for the country to actualize its desired economic dreams. Similarly, Governor Chukwuma Soludo of Anambra State has called for collective action to save Nigeria from the present social, economic, and other challenges currently affecting it. Soludo made the call at an interdenominational church service to commemorate Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary held on Sunday at the Cathedral Church of St. Faith, Oka. According to the governor, each individual's actions, decisions, and contributions played a role in shaping the country's future, whether positively or negatively. He therefore urged Nigerians to continue to pray for their leaders and the country. And still from Anambra State, the All Progressives Grand Alliance ABGA candidates in the 21 local government areas of Anambra State have been declared winners in the September 28, 2024 local government elections in Anambra State. Also, 325 consulorship positions across the 326 electoral wards in states were taken by ruling party in the state. The chairman of the Anambra State Independent Electoral Commission, ANSEC, Genevieve Osakwe, announced the results at the ANSEC office in Awka Sunday night. Describing the election as the fairest, Osakwe emphasized that the commission meticulously collated and analyzed the results to ensure accuracy. Osakwe praised the citizens of Anambra State for their strong turnout and expressed gratitude to security agencies for maintaining peace and order throughout the process. You reduce my voice here. Reduce my voice here. My voice. I don't know what should I speak. Osakwe praised the citizens of Anambra State for their strong turnout and the peace and order throughout the process. Apart from ABGA officials and few local observers, no representatives from other political parties were present at the ANSEC office when results were declared around 8:20 p.m. on Sunday. Former Director General at the Voice of Nigeria, VON, Osita Okechukwu, has urged Nigerians to count their blessings as the nation marks her 64th independence anniversary on October 1st. Okechukwu, a foundation member of the All Progressives Congress, APC, said this on Sunday during an interview with newsmen. He said the occasion called for a sober reflection, notwithstanding the prevailing social economic realities in the country. According to him, in spite of the prevailing economic challenges in the country, Nigerians still have a lot to celebrate. Okechukwu said that Nigeria was on the threshold of an era where policies of public interest and common good will triumph over selfish policies of planlessness. He described Nigerians as good followers, adding that in no distant time things would change for the better. The federal government has declared Tuesday, October 1st, a public holiday to mark the nation's 64th Independence Day anniversary. Meanwhile, state commands of the Nigerian Police Force have deployed men in flashpoints as organizers of the October 1st protest insist on going ahead with a demonstration on Independence Day as planned. If the protest holds, it will be the second time in 2 months that Nigerians would hit the streets in disapproval of the hardship in the country occasioned by the hike in petrol price and electricity tariff and floating of the naira by President Bola Tinubu's government. According to the organizers, the Fearless October 1 demonstration is a continuation of the End Bad Governance protest, which took place from August 1st to 10th. They added that the latest demonstration was necessitated by the failure of the federal government to address their demands, which include hunger in the land, rising cost of hunger, living, insecurity, government's wastefulness, electoral reforms, human capital development, amongst others. The group explained that the FCT protest would be held at the Eagle Square, the same venue of the Independence Day parade, while the Lagos protest would take place at the Ikeja underbridge. Similarly, the Ekiti State Commissioner of Police, Adeniran Akinwale, has advised youth in the state to refrain from participating in the protest being planned for October 1 by some individuals to prevent it from being hijacked by miscreants. Akinwale made the call in a chat with Punch in Ado Ekiti on Sunday. Akinwale, who advised that illegality should not be used to pursue legality, urged youths to embrace peace and dialogue instead. Still to come, federal government hands over 64 CNG buses to labor unions and NAN, and NIMET predicts 3-day thunderstorms from Monday. Do stay with us. The federal government has handed over 64 compressed natural gas (CNG) buses to representatives of the Trade Union Congress (TUC), the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), and the National Association of Nigerian Students (NANS). The handover of the buses took place on Sunday at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, as part of activities marking Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary. The coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, led the government's delegation, which included Alhaji Mohammed Idris, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Senator Abubakar Abagudu, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, and Ayodele Olawande, Minister of State for Youth Development. According to Edun, when the CNG buses are deployed for commuter service, they would significantly reduce transportation costs in the country, bringing hope for a more affordable and efficient public transport system. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, said on Sunday that more than 40% of Nigerians now enjoy 20 hours of power supply daily across the country. Adelabu, in a statement in Abuja, said that the feat was achieved through revolutionary measures taken by the Ministry of Power with the support of President Bola Tinubu as part of his renewed hope agenda to revamp the economy. He credited the achievements in the power sector to radical and bold steps taken by his administration, with President Tinubu's consistent advocacy for stable and consistent power supply as means to achieve breakthrough in industrialization. According to him, the regeneration of more than 5,500 megawatts of power was one of the ministry's significant achievements in the last year, with plans to improve further by the end of the year to promote industries, businesses, institutions, and households across the country. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has predicted thunderstorms from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released on Sunday in Abuja envisaged localized thunderstorms over parts of Keffi and Zamfara states in the northern region during the morning hours. According to NIMET, localized thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of Zamfara, Kaduna, Bauchi, Keffi, Adamawa, and Taraba states during afternoon and evening hours. Similarly, in the north central region, localized thunderstorms are expected over parts of the Niger and Kwara states during the morning hours. While in the day, localized thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kwara, Kogi, and Plateau states. Thunderstorms are also expected over parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Lagos, and Ondo states in the southern cities during the morning hours. The agency also anticipated localized thunderstorms over parts of Oyo, Ondo, Osun, Ogun, Imo, Enugu, Ekiti, Edo, Ebonyi, Delta, and Bayelsa states later in the day. Meanwhile, troops of the Nigerian army have freed 40 hostages, eliminated 8 terrorists, and recovered arms, ammunition in different operations across the country. This was disclosed in a statement by the Nigerian army on its social media platform on Sunday night. It said in a significant development, troops also apprehended a notorious arms courier found with a large cache of ammunition, striking a major blow against arms proliferation by criminal elements. It said Nigerian army personnel, while acting on intelligence, intercepted terrorists and during an exchange of gunfire, neutralized several of them and recovered 303 live rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition concealed in a bag. The suspects and the vehicle were immediately taken into custody, and further investigation are ongoing to apprehend his accomplices. A corps member serving in Katsina State, Hafsat Abdul Malid, has resuscitated 3 broken-down boreholes at Dagoro community in Batagarawa local government area of the state. The boreholes inaugurated on Sunday were reported to have broken down for over 2 years, forcing the residents of the area into difficulty in accessing potable water. The corps member reported that the community for the past 2 years has been suffering over lack of potable water since the boreholes provided by the government broke down. She said that the only 3 boreholes providing water to Dandangoro and 2 other nearby communities became bad, and members of the areas were thrown into hardship. Commissioning the project, Alhaji Ibrahim Saidu, the National Youth Service Corps NYSC coordinator in the state, commended the corps member for her ingenuity to carry out the project. He called on all stakeholders to support corps members posted to their communities by sponsoring them to execute their CDS project in their areas. The village head of Dadangoro, Alhaji Mutaka Magaji, said his people had suffered and passed through untold hardship to get a good source of drinking water. According to him, for the past 2 years, there was no solution for their problem except promise upon promise by politicians. Meanwhile, operatives of the Sokoto Zonal Directorate of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have apprehended 13 suspected internet fraudsters in Sokoto State. According to an official statement from the EFCC on Monday via X, the suspects were arrested on Saturday, September 28, 2024, in the Gidan Yaru and Dandima areas of Sokoto following an actionable intelligence on their alleged involvement in internet-related crimes. The agency further noted that the suspects will be charged in courts after the conclusion of ongoing investigations. The Nigerian government has confirmed that it will begin the supply of crude in Naira by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to the Dangote refinery to reduce the cost of premium motor spirits from Tuesday, October 2nd, 2024. The spokesperson to the chairman of the Technical Subcommittee on Domestic Sales of Crude Oil in Local Currency, Dare Adekombi, confirmed this in a statement on Sunday. This comes as the committee on September 13, 2024, announced that the Federal Executive Council approved the sale of crude to local refineries in Naira and the corresponding purchase of petroleum products in Naira to begin from October 1, 2024. This means that the NNPC is set to supply about 11.5 million barrels of crude to the Dangote refinery monthly, and based on the deal, the plant will release equivalent volumes of refined diesel and petrol to the domestic market also in Naira. Meanwhile, the Publicity Secretary of the Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, Eche Idoko, on Sunday stated that the Naira for crude deal should be extended to other modular refineries in the country and not only Dangote refinery. The development comes as Nigerians buy fuel between 950 naira and 1,100 naira per liter nationwide after NNPCL announced fresh prices following the lifting of Dangote petrol on September 15, 2024. The World Bank has approved 3 new loan requests totaling $1.57 billion in financing for Nigeria. According to a statement released on Monday, the approval is to support the federal government in strengthening human capital through better health for women, children, and adolescents. It added that the approved project would also help build resilience to the effects of climate change such as floods and droughts through improving dams, safety, and irrigation. The statement reads, the World Bank has today approved three operations for a total of $1.57 billion to support the government of Nigeria in strengthening human capital through better health for women, children, and adolescents, and building resilience to the effects of climate change such as floods and droughts through improving dam safety and irrigation. The international lender stated that this new financing includes $500 million for addressing governance issues that constrains the delivery of education and health, $570 million for the primary healthcare provision strengthening program, and $500 million for the Sustainable Power and Irrigation for Nigeria project. The approval made on September 26, 2024 highlights the World Bank's commitment to strengthening Nigeria's human capital and building resilience in the face of economic threats. The Nigerian real estate sector has suffered the recent increase in the interest rate hike by 27.5% by the Central Bank of Nigeria and has affected rent prices across the country. More of this in the business news just ahead. How much is the cost of rent in your area? You know, the rents will keep increasing every year. In fact, in some quarters, I even heard that rents are increasing every 6 months. So this is largely because nothing goes down, frankly. And it's not even peculiar to Nigeria. Even across the world, rents are not cheap. If you're going to get a rented apartment in the neighborhood, the highbrow area, middle level area, and the low level areas, if you watch the last 10 years, rent has skyrocketed in those areas. So those who have homes, are excited that they already have homes, but rents are not going to go down anytime soon. So if you got a roof over your head, thank your stars. It's a welcome development for you. If that's I go need water.
Water.
No water. No, wow. So Adelabu says something like, we should be excited that power has improved in 4 out of 10 people. And I ask this question: if you were to mark a book or an exam and you got 4/10, would it be a pass mark? If you say 40% of Nigerians now receive 20 hours of power, is it good enough? In South Africa, Nigeria, of course, is over 210 million people. South Africa is just around, say, 60 million people. In South Africa, power is 24 hours, except for certain places where you have load shedding. In Ghana, power is 24 hours. In Egypt, power is 24 hours. In Algeria, these are countries that are in Africa, not far from us. They don't have this dichotomy: power 1 hour, 40 minutes, and all that. Because I find it really ridiculous to hear him speak like in that manner. I mean, there's some stats you shouldn't be putting out. I just think you should not. Okay, what am I going to do with that information? Like out of every 10 Nigerian, 4 are saying that they have 20 hours power a day. But what am I going to do with that information? I'll be excited and thumbs you up on a good job that you're doing. What's that? 1 year down the line, and you have increased power twice. People are not able to even afford it. And then you're talking about power 20 hours in a day, 40% of Nigerians. So let's say, well, 220 million. So you have around 40 million people. What's that? So there is still a significant amount of people who are out of power, who should be met. And ask yourself, remember, since the increase by over 100% of power, still to come, Jamaican Prime Minister arrives in Delhi for first state visit to India. Major chemical plant fire triggers mass evacuations in U.S. state of Georgia. These are more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness arrived in India's capital on Monday, marking his maiden state visit and the first by Jamaican Premier to bolster bilateral ties. Holness was greeted by Minister of State for Finance Pankaj Hari at the airport and welcomed with performance of Indian classical dance. During his visit, Holness will attend a wreath-laying ceremony at the memorial of Indian freedom fighter Mahatma Gandhi in New Delhi. He is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and call on President Draupadi Murmu on Tuesday, October 1st, followed by a visit to the holy city of Varanasi the next day. The India's foreign ministry statement said a number of memorandums of understanding will be signed during Holness's visit, which is expected to bolster bilateral relations, enhance economic cooperation, and solidify the long-standing bonds between Jamaica and India. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military said Russia launched several waves of drones targeting Kyiv early on Monday, with air defense units successfully defending the city during the attack, which lasted over 5 hours. Witnesses heard numerous blasts in the Ukrainian capital in what sounded like air defense systems in operation and saw objects being hit in the air. All the drones that Russia launched at Kyiv were either destroyed by defense systems or neutralized by electronic warfare, Serhiy Popko, the head of Kyiv's military administration, said on Telegram messaging app. According to preliminary information, there were no casualties and no damage reported, that he added. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said drone debris fell by a residential building with emergency services working on site. The Ukrainian Air Force said on Monday that it shot down 67 out of 73 drones and one of 3 missiles launched by Russia during the attack. Governor Ruslan Kravchenko reported no damage to critical or residential infrastructure in the region surrounding the capital. He said that the attack caused fires in 5 districts of the region, but there were no casualties. Fire and black smoke was seen rising from Yemen's Hodeidah after Israel said it bombed Houthi targets in response to missile fire by the Iran-aligned militants at Israel over past 2 days, marking another front in fighting in the Middle East. The Israeli strikes killed at least 4 people and wounded 29, and residents said that the bombing had caused power outages in most parts of the port city of Hodeidah. Israel's military in a statement said that dozens of aircrafts, including fighter jets, had attacked power plants and a seaport in Hodeidah and the ports of Ras Isa. It was the second such Israeli attack on Yemen in just over 2 months. In July, Israeli warplanes struck Houthi military targets near Hodeidah after a Yemeni drone hit Tel Aviv and killed 1 man. Yemen's Houthi militants, backed by Iran, have repeatedly fired missiles and drones at Israel in what they say is solidarity with Palestinians since the Gaza war began with a Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th. In their latest attack, the Houthis said they had launched a ballistic missile on Saturday towards the Ben Gurion International Airport near Tel Aviv, which Israel said it had intercepted. Israel intercepted another Houthi missile on Friday. The Houthi movement earlier mourned Hezbollah chief Saeed Hassan Nasrallah, its ally in an Iran-backed alliance opposing Israel following his death in an Israeli airstrike in Beirut. Meanwhile, Israel struck more targets in Lebanon on Sunday, pressing Hezbollah with new attacks after killing the Iran-backed group's leader, Saeed Hassan Nasrallah, and a string of its other top commanders in an escalating military campaign. The attacks have dealt a stunning succession of blows to Hezbollah after almost a year of cross-border fire, killing much of its leadership and revealing gaping security holes. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant is now discussing widening the offensive. Following the death of Nasrallah, killed in a massive airstrike in Beirut on Friday, Hezbollah fired new rockets into Israel, while Iran said his death would be avenged. Meanwhile, Israeli opposition lawmaker Gideon Sa'ar is joining Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government, the 2 men announced on Sunday, in a move likely to strengthen the premier politically. The hawkish Sa'ar, who has been one of Netanyahu's most vocal critics in the past few years, was due to serve as a minister without a portfolio and take a seat at the Prime Minister's Security Cabinet, Israeli television station N12 said. Expanding the government will strengthen Netanyahu by making him less reliant on other members of his coalition government, which faces political challenges as it presses on with a war in Gaza and against Lebanese Hezbollah. Sa'ar and Netanyahu said they were putting their past rifts aside. By joining the government with his 4-seat party, Sa'ar will give Netanyahu a solid majority of 68 in the 120-seat parliament. This could help solve one of the biggest political challenges the coalition faces in the next few months, passing a new military conscription law after Israel's Supreme Court ruled in June that the state must begin drafting ultra-Orthodox Jewish seminary students into the military. Sa'ar was once a senior member in the Netanyahu's right-wing Likud party, but left after a failed leadership challenge. After Hamas' deadly October 7th attack on Israel, which sparked the war in Gaza that joined Netanyahu's emergency unity government but left it in March, citing frustration with its war policies. Successive polls since October 7th have shown that Netanyahu's coalition would be defeated in an election and that SARS faction United Rights would be wiped out entirely. Bernard Mano, an institutional portfolio manager at IBI, said on Sunday he could see Israel's economy improving if its current spending on its wars with Hamas and Hezbollah militants was curtailed by next year. Israel saw a deep downgrade of its credit rating by Moody's, which a senior government official who did not want to be identified said was excessive, not supported by economic data, and would likely not deter foreign governments, or foreign investment rather. But Bernard Mano said he could see the situation stabilizing if Israel could scale back or limit its war to both countries. In a surprise move, we're headed for a short break. When we come back, the news continues. What's going on there? I know track up. You will not allow me read the news from top.
Like we can't find this money today. Save your head, you know.
Still worry.
Ah, wow. What the like man.
In a surprise move, Moody's on Friday downgraded Israel's credit rating to 2 notches to Baa1 from A2 and maintained a negative outlook amid recent escalation of the conflict in the region with Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. The downgrade kept Israel's rating its lowest in 25 years, 3 notches into investment grade. It said the key driver for the downgrade was that the geopolitical risk has intensified significantly further to very high levels with material negative consequences for Israel's creditworthiness in both the near and longer term. Moody's had also cut Israel's rating last May, and the official said little had changed in terms of key credit metrics that past 4 months. A fire broke out at a battery manufacturing company in southeastern China's Fujian province on Sunday, the local fire and rescue department said in a statement posted on Chinese social media platform. According to a statement, the blaze broke out in an independent building within the CATL factory in the Dongdao Economic and Technological Development Zone of Ningbo City. The fire was contained by 10:20 p.m. and no casualties were reported. The statement said the cause of the blaze is being investigated. Vice President Kamala Harris energized the crowd in Las Vegas on Sunday night, focusing her speech on the upcoming election while addressing the damage caused by Hurricane Helena. Harris spoke passionately about Helena's devastation and expressing solidarity with affected communities and speaking about relief efforts. Harris also challenged her Republican opponent Donald Trump to another debate. The American people have a right to hear us discuss the issues. The rally took place at the location previously visited by Trump, part of Harris's strategy of campaigning in competitive swing states.
See them. They don't compress and save them, Same t-shirt. it for good.
Like what?
Nigga it for motor.
Like what?
This is not something I if mistake it for motor now.
You talk about drink. You don't chop food.
I don't chop. If you go chop, you go touch your heart if you buy one. Okay, food. I didn't buy now.
But the money they wait them pay and send your personal account.
In my wallet.
Oh,
Convert them.
if you convert them, can be 700 and something naira. But some, I think some people get like $20, some people get $30.
Maybe $4.
Who
Maybe.
get $4? Oh, she follow they do this. $4. So it that pass you.
This one. The thing they entry do.
How many months ago? A fire at the Biolab chemical plant in Conyers, Georgia, on Sunday led to the evacuation of approximately 17,000 residents and forced the closure of a major highway. The incidents began around 5:30 a.m. when a sprinkler system malfunctioned, reacting with the chemicals inside the factory and creating a massive plume of smoke visible from miles away. Rockdale County Fire Chief Marian McDaniel said the fire was initially contained but ignited around noon, causing further evacuations and concerns about air quality. The fire resulted in a shelter-in-place order for a Rockdale County resident. The Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) and Georgia Emergency Management Agency (GEMA) are currently on site assessing potential hazards as officials warn of possible toxic exposure from the smoke. North Carolina was left in ruins as a huge cleanup and recovery efforts began on Sunday after Hurricane Helena knocked out power for millions, destroyed roads and bridges, and caused dramatic flooding from Florida to Virginia. The storm's winds, rain, and storm surge killed at least 90 people in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and Virginia, according to a tally of state and local officials. Some of the worst rains hit western North Carolina, where almost 30 inches fell on Mount Mitchell in Yancey County, the National Weather Service's Weather Prediction Center reported. Damage estimates ranged from $15 billion to more than $100 billion in showers, and forecasters said over the weekend as water systems, communications, and critical transportation routes were affected. Meanwhile, Jens Stoltenberg will step down after 10 years as NATO Secretary General in October and will be replaced by former Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte. Stoltenberg held his final NATO summit as chief on July 9th. Last year, NATO decided to extend Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg's contract by a further year, opting to stick with the inexperienced leader as war rages on the alliance's doorstep rather than try to agree on a successor. It has been rumored that he may take over as chair of the Munich Security Conference when he finishes his term. Stoltenberg, a former prime minister of Norway, has been the Transatlantic Security Alliance's leader since 2014, and his tenure had already been extended 3 previous times. Stoltenberg has guided the North Atlantic Treaty Organization through a series of crises since taking charge in 2014, most recently rallying NATO members in support of Ukraine while seeking to prevent the war there from escalating into a direct conflict between NATO and Russia. With honed skills in both confrontation and compromise, the former Prime Minister and UN climate change envoy assumed the role at NATO in October 2014 at a delicate time for the security group with Russia's annexation of Ukraine's Crimea region. As Prime Minister, he backed NATO's military campaigns in Afghanistan and Libya, and his government was also an unwavering supporter of the Lockheed Martin Corps Joint Strike Fighter program, despite delays and a cost blowout. Many people outside Norway know him best for consoling his nation and advising against hate-driven reactions after far-right gunman Anders Behring Breivik killed 77 people, mostly teenagers, over Labour support for immigration in 2011. And that's the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. See you later. I'm Charles Byers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How you doing, dear?
Yeah. Tuesday.
Most.